actually believe that they're like, how many people are against and for long distance relationships? Like what the statistics
All
were.
right. Mm-hmm.
And it actually said that the statistics were 41% against long distance relationship. But what I thought was interesting was that there was still 21% that was for long distance relationships. Like, I think like a lot of people think that it's just non-existent, right? Because people always say like, oh, that's not going to work. You know what I mean?
It actually builds the relationship too, you know.
Yeah.
It tests the stability, the whole endurance of it, and it makes seeing that person, you know, something to look forward to. You have people that like to travel,
Yeah.
so if the person is like overseas or whatever, they don't mind it because, you know, every vacation or every holiday or every weekend, it's their thing to just go back and forth.
Right.
And all right, so scenario, you're with the person, but work takes them somewhere else where they have to be there and here. I mean, a lot of reasons why stuff like that don't work out, I guess it's because of infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
You not, you know, you feeling insecure with the person, not thinking that, okay, they're going to form a bond with someone else away from you. Stuff like
Yeah.
that. I guess those are factors why it don't work. But otherwise than that,
But that
I'm
could
not
be
going to
like
say
a relationship
I'm
that
all
you're
for
like,
it.
yeah,
I'm not going to say I'm all for it, but I'm not saying that it can't work. And I'm not
right.
saying that I couldn't do it.
That part right there. That part right there. Because I think a lot of people think like they just, right? Like, nope, that's not even a
Cut it, yeah.
possibility for me.
Shut it down. They don't,
Yeah.
it's no train of thought, nothing. Not
Yeah.
even going to
It's
even
just, well,
think
that
about
didn't
it.
work for me last time, in assumption that like,
And then, and
I,
then,
like,
and then
you're
it's
like
who
their
you
last
with
time.
too.
Like,
And it's who you have some people that are so far away and make you feel so secure than the person next to you.
right.
I don't know. It as I say, it's really based on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's my
Yeah.
2 cents there. And I think it's more for mature individuals too.
Mm. That's like, I think that is like key,
All right.
right?
So you
The,
know
the maturity
you have
level.
your goals, you have your visions, you have your dreams, your aspirations, you know. As I say, you're not looking for somebody to mine you, but somebody to add value.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's the key, like the adding value. Like you don't want to put that kind of effort into somebody that's not going to be um like respectful or loving, you know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
who's going to be respectful of those the unseen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a big believer, like I'm very strong in believing that what I don't see is what your true character is, right? When nobody is watching you, that's your true character, right?
Right, because you don't have to put on a show for anyone. There
Right.
is
And
no
so you're just doing
pretending.
whatever. Yeah. So it's like if that's your true character, the fact that you respect me during your true character moments, like I wouldn't care if you were clear across the world. You know what I mean? If there was
Mm-hmm.
a possibility that, you know, let me put it this way. If there's a possibility that we might be great together, great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then no ocean is going to stop me unless there was one thing involved. a child. If I had a child that was in school and couldn't, surrounded by its family, all that kind of stuff, that would be the one and only thing that would stop me from pursuing anything long distance.
And that is because you want a family oriented structure for the child.
For the child, yeah.
But wouldn't that be putting false pretense for the child, because the world is not like that? And then if you build up this village that, okay, you're going to always have mommy and daddy around, then you kind of cut the independence there.
Right.
Because mommy and daddy is not going to always be around, and I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you know what, you got a point there. But that's the thing, like for me personally, I don't have the kids that I have to attach myself to. My children are all adults. And yeah, I truly believe that a child will always need and want their parent. I truly believe that. But they will grow up and create their own lives. If I did it correctly, they will grow up and create their own lives. And
then it's all that time and effort now has to be channeled to something else, because these children are now grown.
Exactly. Like my kids are grown. So if I want to move, from here to New York tomorrow, there's nothing to stop me.
And then that's a lot of reasons people like that freedom.
Yeah.
Some people don't like bondage. So the long distance is good for them too, where they can still be in something with someone, but not directly in something with someone because they're so far away.
Yeah. I remember being told once, my walls will come down when I meet you. And I thought, that's interesting. Like, why would your walls stay up until then? If it's a long distance relationship at the time, you don't have the opportunity to sit next to them and, cuddle and feel each other and have all of that kind of relationship. So wouldn't it make sense to build a emotional relationship? Right. And does that not happen because of the long distance? Like, does that make it harder?
It's the time and effort that you put in it, because it's going to need that gel. It's going to need that glue to hold it together.
Right.
So the time and effort that it takes to build it up.
Right. So if you keep that wall up during that time period, like, are you even really trying to create anything?
No. Because a wall is a blockage.
Right.
So if you still have the blockage there, then what are you working on?
Right.
Basically just wasting each other's time. Or it is like, oh, I like the conversation, but if there's a but, then that's uncertainty.
Right. That but is what always gets in the way of our heart, I think. So, yeah, Miss Catherine, let's say that you were single and you met your husband.
That's hard.
Yeah, and you met your husband on the internet and he lived in a completely different state.
Timbuktu. He lived in Timbuktu.
Would you have pursued the relationship?
Not really. Because
why?
Because somebody would have to relocate if it got serious and went further. And that's a no for me. I'm not relocating.
So, how come no relocation?
Then don't say no. Don't say no. Don't knock it. Don't knock it down. Then Because there are a lot of factors. What if the person would relocate and come to you?
That's what I think that's where she was getting at. But
Yeah. What if he came to you?
then we will talk about it before he comes, because we want to make sure it's going to be something we both want, because that's a big step on either end. Somebody relocating and then someone relocating for you. So we gotta be sure this is something we want and something
Right.
we need to pursue and go further. Is it
How do
going?
you pursue that if you've already shot it down
Yeah, and what are factors you know
because
that
there's a
you want
distance?
this?
How do you find that out? What
Communication.
if that?
We're going to talk about it first. If we're for sure that this is something we would do and he wants to relocate, then fine.
Yeah.
But if he's like, well, no, I don't want to relocate, and that's nothing I'm considering relocating, then there's no reason to pursue that then.
Let's say it this way, okay? So let's make it me, okay? Don't start thinking, because there is not. But let's say I started talking to a dude in New Jersey, right?
Okay.
And we start talking, starts getting comfortable, start saying, hey, what's up? Start saying, good morning, beautiful, what's going on? And I start to get comfortable in that relationship. For me, I was telling Modella, I don't have ties at home, right? My kids are grown. I don't have a 9 to 5 brick and mortar job. And my family is all over the world, right? For somebody like in my place in life, is it okay? Like, is that long distance relationship a good thing to pursue?
Well, like you said, your kids are adults. You don't have like you said, a 9 to 5 thing where it's like, okay, I'll have to put in a notice, I'll have to quit that, and I gotta find another job in another location.
Right.
So that right there, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So it will be a little
And
easier.
then that would be easier
A
for
little
you.
easier for you to locate.
That would be easier for you, right? Also, it would be if that's what you want to do.
Right. And if that's what he wants too. Because the thing you don't want to do is drop everything and move to another state for somebody, and then they're second guessing, like, well, I don't know if this is something I want to pursue. You can drop everything and left.
Yeah. Would you date someone in the next city? Like, I mean, in California we have counties, right? So a county over. Is that too far?
No, we have counties. We have Ramsey County, Washington County. We got different counties and stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the same state. It's not really that far. We have like what is her name? I keep forgetting her name. Harper and Gemini. They're in Wisconsin. That's not far. I'm in Minnesota. They're in Wisconsin. That's like 2 hours, 3 hours for me. Like something like that, that's not too bad.
When it's real, you'll know it. You'll connect and have more than 50% in common wherever you are in the world. So for you, it wouldn't matter. Like, you would just up and travel? Like, you would just go?
Me or J-Rock?
J-Rock. That being said,
Funny with that too, with a lot of stuff is what I notice with women and men is we jump the gun. So we start talking, we catch feelings, long time, build house, nest, pack up everything gone, and he is not even 2% close to where you are in emotions.
mm-hmm.
he's probably like, yeah, I like her company, yeah, I like her vibe, yeah, she probably can do this, yeah, she probably can do that, but he's not at that level where he would
Right.
want to jump and do the move. Or but we know, because we're so emotional, that we run gone with the wind a long time. So a lot of times you find that relationships are unbalanced.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to say hi. You freaking snagged me up.
I hear what you're saying, but I think again that touches on what you were saying earlier when it comes to maturity, right? Because for somebody like me, when I see a relationship starting, I see it as a starting, right? And I have to be on a great level with you in order for me to say this is the one. Mainly because I already did the craziness of marrying the first date guy, right? So for me, mentally, I have to be there. I have to be stimulated mentally. I have to be stimulated other ways. Like, I got to have it all, right? In order for me to say, yes, this is a commitment, right? I mean, I ain't gonna lie. When I was younger, I had a line, right? You know how like men have their lines? I had a line, and I would literally tell guys, I give you 3 days. 3 days, you're gonna be in love with me. Like, it is what it is. But at the same time, I knew that they were going to say whatever they needed to say to accomplish whatever it is that they wanted to accomplish. You know what I mean? So I would still have this 3-month rule where I knew that that person was still going to show me who they really were in 3 months. Whoa, what happened?
She said she'll be back.
Oh, okay. It didn't say anything to me. That's why. But
said it in the chat.
But now I wouldn't say that kind of thing, because that means that they're not really falling for me. They're falling for the idea.
That's because of experience.
Right.
That's because of experience. So you've been down that road already, knowing that it takes more than 3 days, it takes more than 3 months, it takes more than even 3 years.
But it's funny because once you start saying things like, I miss you, right? To a man, I feel like that takes a whole nother level than for a female, right? For me, when I say I miss you, I mean, like, I miss talking to you. Like, I didn't get to talk to you today, and I wanted to hear your voice, and that, I wanted to have that moment with you, right? Not, I miss you so much, I want to love you and hug you and cut, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. It is not that deep. Like, it is not that deep until it is that deep, right? But does that make it more difficult when you're long distance from somebody?
Yes.
Why?
It can send mixed signals.
For me, it does, because I'm more like, my love is more touchable to someone.
So you're
I'm more
affectionate. Have to be close.
Yeah.
So you couldn't be with a person being so far away.
No, I couldn't do a long distance relationship.
You couldn't do a long distance.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. Truth be told, it's not.
You know what I thought was interesting was that hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Shaw.
How's everybody?
Good. How are you?
I'm hot. That's for sure.
Hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, you are.
Not that kind of hot.
Oh, right. I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I thought was interesting was
I can see him blushing and his camera isn't on.
Right.
I have never used a dating app in my entire life. Okay? Ever. what I thought was interesting was dating apps. They put a mileage on the dating apps. How far you're willing to date on the dating app. And do you know what the furthest distance is?
So me not Craig.
I don't
Me
know.
not
I
use
can't even
it.
call. I
Me
don't
not
even
put it
call them
out a
dating
lot.
apps. I just call them hookup.
Ooh.
Dana?
But the
Me not
distance
put
is
it out a
30
lot.
miles.
Me not bake.
30 miles. They talk to becoming a dating app
Hey,
at this point. Well, I don't know if it's a
to some
dating
people,
app,
it's
but I
worth it.
know that it's definitely a place where like you connect with people. I mean, anywhere that you connect with people, you might find the one, you know? You never know. Hey, Silas,
Thanks,
thank you.
Silas.
Right?
Hi,
Is 30 miles too far?
Say what?
Is 30 miles too far?
No.
Why?
Well, kind of. Well, put it like this. I can't just say no. It depends. It depends on the connection you and the other person have,
Mm.
and certain circumstances right now just doesn't have y'all close. Like somebody can have an apartment, don't want to break their lease. Somebody wants to live close to their job. So if the connection is good and pure and definitely seeing somebody, if you're seeing yourself with that person and they see the same with you, then no, 30 miles is not much at all.
Yeah.
Because
And
and
then
then
mostly
during this,
because you would have been stimulated, you would have been intrigued by the person, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
exactly.
that attraction would have already been there. So
Kenmar
And then
says,
if you actually
go ahead.
and then if you actually think about it, the way people drive these days, 30 miles ain't nothing.
Yeah. Kenmar says 30 miles worth of traveling and gas. Victor says it's difficult to find love here, though. Explain what you mean, Victor. Kenmar says, is the love worth the money? And J Rock says, yeah, gas these days, they better be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, all of them got some truth to it.
Right?
Right.
It has to be something there that you're willing to travel that long or
Yeah.
travel that far.
What issues can long distance dating cause?
It can cause trust issues.
Okay.
Stress.
Why stress?
Because it can be stressful if you really want to be with them like right now and you have to wait.
Hmm.
it takes a lot of compromising and stuff like that.
It can also cause greed.
She
Why
gotta be
greed?
special.
Well, simply for the fact with y'all being away from each other, if everything about y'all is stimulated, the fact y'all can start off as 30 miles apart, but every time y'all get together, it can always be like it's the first time, which makes you want to see somebody more and more and more
Right.
and more and more.
Yeah. But then what happens when it's finally like forever then?
Well, it depends on the people. Are you
Right.
willing to, when it comes to people that finally be together and it's forever, forever, are you willing to go the distance as of for making your relationship work? Are you willing to fight for that spark? Are you
Right.
willing to re-spark that relationship? There are things that you can do to do that. Question is, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the fight? Because once you get into that relationship, all types of stuff is going to wind up happening. Temptation and all that
Mhm.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. So,
Yes.
are
And
you
and that's
willing?
no matter what, right? Like that's no matter what the distance of a relationship is.
Yep, that could be that too.
Yeah. Kmar
So,
says she got to be special. Plus, long distance fades over time. Long
that's
distance is for people that have are strong, not intimate bonds.
true. That could be it.
But don't you think that intimacy is not just touch, intimacy can be verbal.
Yes.
Of course.
Can.
It can be mental. And do you think that you can have intimacy with somebody, because if you're long distance, right? Like you have to talk on the phone more.
I think you can have intimacy if you're in a long distance relationship, but you're not gonna have the full intimacy because
Meaning what?
meaning like people can sit here and talk to each other to make intimacy happen. Phone sex, all that other stuff, right?
Right.
Your energies.
Your energies. But if
Right.
that person is not there touching, because a lot of people's favorite language is touching.
Yeah.
They
Mm.
love
Okay.
language is touching. So if
Yeah.
your love language is not, if you're not touching or hugging or cuddling or whatever it is you consider touching as your love language, you can still have intimacy. It's just not going to be 100%.
Until you're physically with the person.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you
J
better watch
Rock
out.
The
says,
person, a person
then you better
having
watch
a
out.
person, you
Yeah.
have,
Thank you.
especially for men,
Thank you very much.
they have mental relationships first.
Yeah.
So they
J
So
have
Rock
the
says
mental
either it works.
relationship.
J Rock says either it works or wastes time and money. Kmart says, and sometimes it turns out not to be what you signed up for.
that
J
could be
Rock
true.
says long distance is hard with no trust too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can. You
Yeah.
know,
It does.
I've known people who were they call it a unrelationship relationship, and pretty much what that
What
was,
is? Yeah. What does that mean?
well, pretty much what it was that
All right.
look, we are together, but even let's just say we live in different states.
Okay.
We live in a state next to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay.
So they looked at it as, look, I live in this state, you live in this state. I really do like you. I really do want to be with you, but the long distance thing is not, it's kind of not for us. So what?
Right.
Let's just do it like this. Like, look, you date who you date, or you chill who you chill. But when I'm in town, or when you in
So
town
it's
with
an
me,
open, long
if
relationship.
I'm with you,
Right.
my time is with you.
Hmm.
Everything
So it's an
drops.
open, long relationship.
Yes,
So, do you think that that wouldn't cause it to fade faster if that was the case?
it
Because,
That
again.
like
It
you said,
so what about the
because like
person
you
that you're
said,
seeing? Because wouldn't they catch feelings too?
true.
right? Like
That's
you said, like
crazy.
intimacy for some people is touch, and if they're getting the touch from someone else, but getting the mental stimulation from you, can they not end up confusing the two?
They can. I'm not saying. Okay, for one, I'm not saying it's me. I said I know somebody.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not
Okay,
saying it's you either. Yeah,
but there are people. They know how to work that out. They don't just. They deal with the same type of people that they are. If you
yeah,
get what I'm saying,
yeah, yeah.
that's how they
I got
deal
you.
with it. When they, like, say for instance, when they go on dating sites and
Right,
stuff like that, they don't look for relationships. They looking for casual dating,
right.
because they don't want that relationship, but they make sure that they tell people what they doing. And if the person that they're talking to is not down for that, then hey, they not down for that. They let it be. Now for the ones that don't say nothing, hey, that's wrong. But
What do you
there
mean?
are,
Don't say nothing.
I'm talking about, like, say for instance I'm dating you.
Okay,
We're in a long distance relationship, but I just, but I'm going out with Miss Holloway,
okay,
and I don't tell Miss Holloway about you.
bitch.
You dig what I'm saying? That's just
I
pretty
get
much.
you.
I'm taking
The
away
lack of
her.
honesty or
I'm
communication.
taking away her choice as of, does she want to be a part of the lifestyle that I'm in?
Right.
Right, right. You're making the decision for her to be in or not.
Exactly. So there are groups of people out here that are like that. Like, look, I'm with this person, but it's a long distance relationship. But when I'm with that person, I'm with that person.
So would you say that a long distance relationship is something that you definitely have to like tend your heart for, because you have to prepare for that person to just be that person?
I think, in my
Or
opinion, a long distance relationship is going to be harder. Okay, put it like this: out of town relationship is going to be much more harder than in town relationship. You got a
Right,
lot
and
more
it's
to
not
deal
for
with.
everybody.
You got a lot to deal with.
So it's for more
but why? What do you mean?
mature
You have a lot more. Like, what's the lot more?
Well, for one, you're dealing with distance,
distance, time,
Yeah.
distance,
time
time,
zones. You don't know. It's like you constantly figuring out what it is that
work.
your person is, that person that you're doing. You're going to
Yeah.
have to get a lot more reassurance.
There you go. Yep.
You're going to have to, you can't really tell if a person is doing something because majority of the time that person is not there.
Right.
Then y'all not together. So you're dealing with more when an out of town relationship than you are dealing with an in town relationship.
Right. Alexis also says a lot more reassurance. So you'll need a lot more reassurance from somebody
That's a
that
lot.
you're.
That's a lot of
Why?
things you're going to need.
Oh yeah. So, like what though? Like just reassurance?
Reassurance,
What I mean, what if
trust.
you're somebody like what if you're somebody like me who doesn't need that?
Security.
Well, that's because you don't need it doesn't mean the other person's not going to need it.
See, okay, there it is.
You know, if both of y'all ain't on the same page, then
And
somebody's
then
going to need the
that
reassurance.
boil down
Yep.
is who
Right.
you with.
Somebody's going to need it.
Right. Kmart
So
says you're dealing with gas prices putting relationships on the line.
money can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money can do that too because it's hard to see somebody that's in a long distance relationship if you ain't got the funds to go out there.
Right.
And then not only are you making the funds to go out there to see that person, but then now you want to take this person out on a date. So that's more money.
Yeah.
And money can ruin relationships. I think it's in it could be the number one, or I think it's in the top 5 for relationships being broken.
Mm.
Enjoy your weekend, girl.
Kmart says reassurance is for people with trust issues. Alexis also says facts. I'm assuming that's to Mr. Shaw is here. That's my daughter, by the way, just so anybody's wondering. One of the wisest ones.
So it could be.
What?
I mean, you're doing a lot. You actually, and then you're taking a very big chance with an out of town relationship
Both.
with
Okay.
somebody in 2 different areas.
Right.
You're taking a very big chance.
Explain.
Well, practically, for example, all the stuff that we just named, financials and trust, reassurance, all that stuff.
Right.
That's a very big step.
That's
You're giving up
actually
life to go start somewhere else, but you're not sure about that.
Exactly.
right. Mine was across the states. Me in California, and he was in Kentucky. This is Alexis Oso.
So, I mean, when it comes to out of town relationship, it's definitely got to be one of those things that you're willing to try.
Right.
I'm going through it right now.
And if you're not willing to try that, then you need to say something to your other partner simply for the fact that, hey, you don't want to sit here and have this person thinking one thing with this, and then all of a sudden you don't want to try it.
Trying to
Be honest.
respect the situation.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
don't take that choice from the person that's out of town.
Right. Yeah. Like, what about my choice?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you. I hear what you're saying. What are things that, what are ways that you could make it, like for those who actually decide, you know what, this is worth it. This is worth it. What things can you do to make it work?
If you're gonna sit here, my thing is, if it's worth it, if both parties believe that this is worth it, then somebody is making a move. Somebody's making a move.
Right.
Plain, I mean, in my opinion, there's no other way. If it's gonna work and y'all really want to do it, somebody's making a move.
So on that note, how long should the relationship be lasting before you come to that kind of decision?
It depends on, for one, it depends on your previous relationship and how heartbroken you are. It depends on what baggage that you have, because you don't want to bring your old baggage into a new place.
Right. Is that all that matters? Communication and trust also says, Kmar says long distance relationships take more, simply put, one of y'all got to decide to move.
Yeah.
Right. But after how long? Like,
It
how long does
depends.
the relationship go for you to go, you know what? It's time for us to move in and figure this out.
It depends, and it depends on how open both parties are. It just depends. I can't say everybody would think the same as of when is it time. It just depends. It depends on what all you have going on. It depends, like I said, that baggage.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm waiting for a divorce to be final before I make the move.
See?
Oh,
And that depends on how long the divorce takes. Because you can have a divorce in quickly,
Yeah.
or it could take long depending on if the two parties is not going to agree to anything.
Right.
So it all depends. It depends on the person. On the people, I mean. I'm sorry.
On both, right, on both parties.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yo, what do you think? You're on
Your mic.
mute.
Well, this topic is really not for me. I mean, I never had to be in that kind of situation. Yeah,
Well, it
like
is because it's based off your opinion. So your opinion is I mean, what if this was your daughter? What if your daughter came home and she said, "Mom, just fell in love with this guy and he lives in New York."
or like your daughter said, communication, trust, but then also you got to know each other and then try to see if it's going to work out. But one or the other one's going to have to probably move to try to work things out.
Can you really, really get to know a person though over the phone by talking and video chatting? Can you really know them? Living with them, talking to them over the phone is is different things.
Oh,
Yeah,
very true. Very, very true. I completely agree. I don't think some things you can discuss over the phone or face chat, but you can honestly tell how a person is when you're face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that's true.
When you start talking to them online and stuff, that's like what they call the honeymoon suite part. Like y'all in the beginning, everything's good. But then when you come face to face and have to live with each other, that's when you really know the person. And then you might be like, oh no, this ain't what it is. But
Yeah,
now you to a whole nother state. Now you gotta leave that person's house because it ain't working out. So now you stuck in a whole state where you don't know nobody, don't have no job right away, or no nothing. So you just stuck.
Very true. That's why I said that it's a very big step. It's a very big step.
Like,
This right here is like, are you taking a
my
leap of
daughter
faith
actually
on?
wanted to join the conversation on this.
Okay.
Okay, so my daughter wanted to join the conversation on this, and she wanted to explain her situation because her and her boyfriend actually dated from California to Kentucky, for a good amount of time. So I'll let her explain how they did it.
Oh,
uh-huh.
okay.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, come on.
So we were long distance relationship for the first 2 months of us being together. Then he ended up coming back to California for the summer since he was in Kentucky for football and school. And then when he came back, we ended up living in together for the whole summer, and we lived in Vegas. And then he ended up having to go back to school for 6 months. So we were long distance for 6 months, but I had started relationships before him. We were together. I didn't have any problems, like no trust issues, no anything. But I've never been in a long distance relationship. So when did go into long distance, it was kind of a shock for me because I was like, oh my gosh, like what is he doing? Like what's going on? Like it's a whole different world out there. Like the last one I visited. So it was hard. It was hard for me just because I was on trust issues. Somebody in the comments was like you won't have to have so much reassurance, like if you don't have trust issues, and it's so true. Like if I wasn't feeling the way that I was feeling before, like he wouldn't have like been so overly communicative with me, and he was really great with everything. And we talked like it sounds so creepy and like probably stupid, and you're probably like, what the hell? But like we were on FaceTime 24/7, texting 24/7.
Date nights.
Yeah, we had scheduled date nights, like every weekend, and like we literally did like the smallest things to make sure not only I was okay, but that like he was okay in the relationship too, because he was attached or we were both very attached early. So for him, it was more like, okay, like I miss you, I really want to be around you. For me, it was like, what's going on? What are you doing? Like, so there was just two different shocks, but like we did everything possible on both ends to make sure that we were both okay and that
like they did movie FaceTime dates. Or tell them about the boxes that you guys made for each other.
Yeah, we would send like care packages to each other. It'd be like of like our favorite snacks, or like for him, or we like would both write. He would write a bunch of notes and like send clothing or like a shirt or like a sweater or something. So like it was just a bunch of little cheesy stuff,
but it was the effort that you made, right?
Exactly.
And like, where's the
effort in it?
Right.
Like we both decided this is something that we want to still go with. So we're both going to do the things that we need to do in order to make it work and grow and continue to keep going.
Yeah. And how did that end up?
Well, I'm pregnant. We're about to move into a first apartment together, and I better see a ring soon.
So Tyler, if you're watching or hearing this,
he's not, but he does.
That's what's up.
That's
right?
awesome.
Thank you, Lexi. I love you.
Thank you. That was very awesome.
Thank you. So, like I was saying, like I 100% agree with everybody that it's definitely is based off of what kind of effort you're going to put into the relationship. For me, it doesn't matter how far you are. If you're going to spend that moment to make sure that I know that you down for me, then what else matters, right? For my daughter, I know for a fact, like I remembered watching her just be like, she'd run to her room and I was like, what are you doing? She had popcorn in her hand, candy in her hand, and she's booking it with her cell phone. And I'm like, what is going on? And she said, we're having date night. I said, well, what do you mean? And she says, well, I've got my iPad propped up with him on FaceTime facing me and then I have my other one facing towards the TV, and we're watching the movie together. So they'd have their snacks and everything.
That's awesome.
FaceTiming each other, and they're watching the movie, but each time like, oh my God, did you see what happened? Like you can hear them communicating with each other as if like they were just chilling on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And that effort turned into, well, apparently a baby making session because I'm about to be a grandma. But but I feel like there's so many people in this world that show us that not everything is black and white, not everything looks the same, and not everything has to be the same for every single story. Like your stories are different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have a comment on any of that?
Only thing I just have to say is it just depends on it depends on the people.
Yeah.
It depends on the people because I mean some people are willing to make the time. They just got to figure out how because with you being in different time zones, you got to think about you got to put that into perspective simply for the fact I could be at work while you're sitting home. So the time that I actually have with you now, you have to be at work
Right.
and stuff. So it just depends on the people, depends on how good the attraction is, and it also just depends on how much effort are each party's willing to put in.
Right. Okay, well, that
And
being
then
said, go ahead,
there
Joe.
are other factors as well, like does each party have children? Because then now depending on the age of the kids, you're gonna have to tend to them,
Right.
especially with you being a single parent.
Right.
So you have to tend to them. And, there are some people out in this world that, I mean, I think it's kind of crazy, but that's just me, that they don't want to deal with somebody that has kids
Right.
and stuff. So I think when it just comes down to it, it's just, there's a whole bunch of factors that you really have to sit down and be like, is this something worth doing?
Right.
You know,
Joe, did
don't
you have? Go
don't
ahead.
try to don't try to tell somebody you're going to come out there and see them when you know you ain't going to be able to make time to come out there and see them.
Right. Joe, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Um, my brain was kind of like not all there. What was it? I feel really dumb. I was trying to mess with my lights that I just put up. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you guys for coming for today's live. I think we touched on some really good moments. I'm hoping that somebody got something out of this whole thing. But anyway, thank you to all of you guys in the box. Please make sure that if you are not following everybody in the box, that you do stay, because trust me, if you do, you won't regret it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for today, and I will talk to
Have
you
a good one,
soon.
everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
All right.